consider motivation. I don't really use anything else.
Kids. Well,
Yeah.
you're a kid.
Yeah. I mean, they are a motivator. I think I used to say that for a long time. They're definitely a big motivator, but you have to be very careful with how you use that word motivation, especially related to your family or anybody in general.
Explain.
Because
we rise to the top, can't stop this flow. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready, let's go. In the heart of the jungle, we're ready.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the RoundTable here with just Ben today. What's going on, man?
What's going on, dude?
Just had a pretty good recording.
We did.
Pretty awesome.
Smart young kid, so
yeah,
sharp.
It still amazes me. I love getting these younger guests on and hearing how their mindset is compared to where mine was.
Yeah, it's cool to see that in the younger generation. I know it's not all of them, but it's cool to be around those guys and really kids that are just have a whole different mindset from where we were back in our 20s, and I think it's fun to see. It's fun to
it's eye-opening.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's inspiring to continue to be better for my kids.
Yeah. It's
so that they have those chances in their life.
It's hard to think of, like, because I'm like, damn, man, I should have, when I was younger, I could have done so much more. But then I'm like, I had to go through all those different things in my own journey to be like where I'm at today. So it's like you can't change your path to whatever you sometimes could wish back, like I could have started a lot sooner. But at the same time, it's like your mindset or maturity wasn't, well, at least for myself, wasn't where it needed to be. So it probably would have ended up catastrophically horrible if I would have tried to do something.
Yeah, like we've talked before. Things happen for a reason. Things are panning out the way that they need to for the reasons they need to. So that kind of, you had brought it up, but I'm gonna make you be in the hot seat today. Discipline versus motivation.
Discipline versus motivation.
Where do you pull most from? What's your favorite to lean on?
I love.
First of all, start with what do you determine in your mind as motivation versus discipline? Define the two, I guess.
I guess for me, motivation is more of like your rah-rah stuff, right? So you can pull your motivation from different things. It could be, for myself, motivation for me looks like, if I can watch a David Goggins video, or I could watch somebody else. To me, that's what I consider motivation. I don't really use anything else.
Kids. Well,
yeah.
You're a kid.
Yeah. They are a motivator. I think I used to say that for a long time. They're definitely a big motivator, but you have to be very careful with how you use that word motivation, especially related to your family or anybody in general.
Explain.
Because it definitely is a motivator. Don't get me wrong. But the moment you speak that and they hear that, your actions better back up what you're saying that they're motivating. Because if I said, my wife's the motivator for why, I want to be financially successful and whatever that looks like to anybody. But to me, it looks like a certain way of, living a certain lifestyle, being able to, to have her home and all these different things. The moment that I speak, hey, you're my biggest motivator to do those things, and then there's no action or there's no result that it's attached to that, then does it really, you might be speaking something different to that person. Be like, oh, so, maybe I'm not as big a motivator in your life to make me, because we're not seeing the result in X, Y, and Z, right? So you have to be very careful, but they are definitely motivators. But I just, I'm very wary in how I use them nowadays. I used to throw it around like nothing before, but now I'm very careful to when I say they're a motivator. They are motivators in certain aspects, but, so yeah, I think they could definitely be a motivator. To me, it's a lot of videos, a lot of, I'll look at like older pictures or whatever and stuff that was in my life and how far I've come. Those could be motivators to me. Those have been used as motivators. Things people have said, and I know that sometimes they think they're being said behind closed doors, but it always comes back, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got you loud and clear. And to me, like, discipline is just, you really just choose, like, you choose to be the person that you say you're going to be. So it's kind of what we talked about in the last, with the guests. It's like, there's no out. You say you're going to do it, so you do it. Like, there's not really, it's more of like a accountability to yourself. You're keeping your word to yourself. That's what discipline means to me. And you do it whether you want to or not. And whether it reaps the result at that time or not. Like, you're just doing it, right? It's like, if we were going, it's like the hike, right? The hike that we did. I'm serious, man. We were disciplined enough.
Oh, man.
There was, the motivator of getting to the top, but we were, like the shirt, it's like, it's too stupid to quit, right? That's the epitome to me of like a discipline. It's like, you're just too stupid to not stop. Like, you're just not going to stop. You're just going to keep going. You know where you're going. You know what, you're at least envisioning a certain ending. We envisioned that waterfall. We're like, we're going to it. We're going to be disciplined to go all the way through. And the way down, it's like the exact same discipline. There was no motivator. There wasn't like, I want to go back and get in the car and get, it was just like, we're going to make it because we're going to make it. There's no, we're just going to stop here. We're going to wait. Like, there was none of that. There was no conversation. There was just, we're just doing it. To me, that's discipline. You just do it to do it. Like, there's no like other option really.
Which do you lean on more?
I think I honestly, I am motivated by negative things. That is a hard driver for me. If somebody says I can't, and like I said, I have notes on my phone of certain things that have happened in my life. Those are things that move me a lot of times. Yeah, I think really that's what it is. And I think it slowly evolves into discipline. So I don't think it stays in one place. I think I use motivation as like a spark. Like, it's like that initial thing. So I don't rely on it to get me through the next day. I start leaning more on something more of like, okay, I've decided to make this decision. Now I got to see it all the way through because I said I was going to do it. It's like with the cold plunge theory, right? Like, the motivator is like, I got to do this for myself. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You get in, and then it's all discipline after that. Like, there's no Goggins. There's no, I'm doing this I'm doing it because I'm in here and I said I'm going to do it. Now I'm doing it. So for me, I use mostly to start a motivator, and then discipline. Everything after that is what has to lead. That's what it works for me. I don't know if people might be like, that's not right, but for me, that's how I feel like I function best. Is I motivate to start, and then I just use discipline everything after that. Because
I mean, that's what a lot of it. I mean, if you listen to most anybody, motivation's just there to spark it. But if you don't have the discipline to keep it going, then the motivation doesn't mean shit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's starting a fire essentially. You need that spark to start it, but you need the wood to continue to burn it. So you need the discipline, aka the wood, to continue going. You might need the match to get it started, but the match will burn out quick.
Yep.
And if you don't have anything to continue to fuel that fire, that discipline, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to do anything.
No. And I think from a motivator standpoint too, I think you have to find what works best for you. Like you said, I mean, it can be your family. It can be whatever. I just have found that for me, it's the negative stuff. That's what just pushes me. That's the easiest thing. There's things that have been said that I still hold to this day. And I can't tell you that it has any effect on me other than when I want to do something that doesn't align with what I know I should be doing. I'll play those things in my head and I'll be like, oh, okay, this person's going to get the benefit of seeing me, go backwards or not be the person that I said I was going to be. So
they're definitely big motivators. Most people should agree to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are huge motivators.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the greats talk about them all the time. You know, especially like Andy Frisella, he talks about it a lot. Like, you know, or Goggins uses the cookie jar reference.
Jar, yeah.
He puts all his in a quote unquote cookie jar and pulls it out when he needs it. I mean, I've done it more times than I can count at the gym or different things. You know, you're just like, well, why am I? Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember people telling me I was too small, I was weak, I was whatever.
Yeah.
That motivates you to push a little bit harder.
I think for me, looking at them, being a father was something that didn't come natural to me, in the sense that I didn't have an example, right, to really lean off of. But when you know, a lot of there are certain phrases that have been said, and you know, even like, you know, you're not gonna be this person, you're not gonna be that, you're you know, you're not gonna be a good dad, whatever. And then I've used those things throughout my life because there's been so many opportunities for me to step away, and you know, unfortunately in today's society, those are the norms, right? A lot of times when you go through a relationship that hasn't worked out, the easiest route is to just, you know, pay the money and move on with your life, right? I don't think that that's the right thing to do, but unfortunately, statistically, when you see, at least the areas that I come from, that's what you see. A lot of kids just don't grow up with dads because, you know, the ex isn't worth dealing with, right? It's not worth that battle. But a lot of those things have always played in the back of my mind. Like, I won't, you know, the negative talk, the comments. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. That actually motivates me to be a better father, to be there, to show up, to do the things that, you know, with the times where I didn't want to be there, I didn't want to deal with all the other bullshit that comes with that relationship split up. You know, you use those things to be like, I'm going to push myself to be a better person. And, but then you know, you have to rely on that discipline to say like, okay, this is who I am, no matter what. This is who I'm going to be. And then eventually you turn into that person that you want to be. And I think it's a hard thing to do, to start. Starting is the hardest part, but then you start and you really start turning into a different person and creating a person that you want to be. And yeah, I mean, what about for you, man? What about discipline? And because I think it changes for everybody, right? I think
discipline. First of all, your post the other day kind of said it all.
Yeah.
You know, about your kid and how you showed up when you didn't want to, when it was hard.
Yeah.
And you put the smile on for her.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of says a lot about a father in general.
Yeah.
I mean, motivation, I try to never rely on it.
Okay.
Personally, because I say that, but I'll motivate myself constantly, like we talked about. Like, you know, I'll be doing a lift and think, man, you used to be tiny. You used to be called tiny, and, you know, all this stuff. So I'll use it, but I try not to rely on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've created the discipline to show up at the gym, do the work. I mean, yeah, the last little bit, you know, last 3-4 weeks hasn't been as disciplined, just as far as my schedule got crazy. And so there's times that I've missed the gym, but I'm also not beating myself up for it. You know, I could have, you know, we'll just use the example. Thursday we went to Lagoon. I could have got up and went, but I also knew I was going to walk quite a bit. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a lot of cardio in that day. So I'm not going to worry too much about going to lift weights.
Yeah.
Because everybody, you know, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people think the gym is just lifting. There's also cardio. You can do a little bit of everything. You know, a good outdoor walk is never going to hurt. You know, and then Friday, again, I could have gone, but I'm like, you know, I walked a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an excuse, but I still have the discipline to know that, like today, I had the choice. I mean, I could have not gone, because usually we go about the time we recorded the last one. But I was like, no, I'm going to get up. And, you know, I set my alarm for 6 and it goes off. My wife goes, well, why do you have an alarm set for 6? I was like, so I can go to the gym. Okay. You know, by the time I got back home, went to the gym, got a good workout in, got back home, she was getting moving finally towards the end of the workout. And then the kids still didn't wake up. I mean, they woke up 20 minutes before I left.
Yeah.
But that's the discipline that I have, is just to continue going and to continue showing up for myself and put the work in. And I mean, that's where I rely on more, is discipline. Motivation might help me through it, but there's not much motivation to go.
Yeah, it's a very small portion of it. It should always be a small portion of it.
It's just going to the gym is just my life.
Yeah.
That's what we chose to do with our life.
Yep.
And so that's just a discipline to show up or to do something to move our bodies.
Yeah.
You know, walking or, you know, a Sunday, like all last weekend was just motivation to clean stuff up or just, the motivation to have a clean yard. But it was a discipline to get out there and do the work.
Right.
And get the work done.
Yeah, I love that. No, I think, and even if in a relationship, right? Like, think about it like that. If you know, you tell your wife, you know what? I'm just not motivated to be a good husband today. I'm just not motivated to love you today. Like, they'd be like, anybody that heard that would be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Like, are you insane? Right? You choose the person that you are is to love your partner, to be a good husband, to be a good father, to show up to the gym, to do like, so sometimes these radical things to think of. It's like you look at these situations and you put them in different fields or different things. You're like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So you got to kind of look at the gym and all these other things in that retrospective. Like, if you think about it that way, it don't really work. You know, if you know, you told your wife, you know, I just don't, you know, I don't feel like it today. You don't feel like, well, I just don't feel like loving you today. You know, I don't feel like being a good guy today, a good husband, good father. They look at you like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
Like what? Like it doesn't. It's weird to put it that way, but sometimes those are the things that would make you really look at because you care about those things. Those are important things. Being a husband, good father are important. And if you look at it like that, if you said that to your family, which is what you're saying when you don't show up to the gym, because realistically, you know, you're doing it for yourself, but also what's the serendipity behind that is that you're going to have a better life with your partner and your kids.
I mean, if any of you know my wife's story, I mean, we've created a much better life for our kids, for our family that way. And, you know, I was just thinking here, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't have discipline, which is complete trash. Because how many of you people are working every fucking day?
Every day?
Every day you get up and you go to work. 99% of you show up to work 5-10 minutes or between 1 and 10 minutes early. Every day. And you have the discipline to get up, to go to work, to show up on time, to do the work needed. Yeah, you might leave at 5. You might clock out. But you have the discipline. So you just need to take that and apply it to other aspects of your life. You have the discipline to show up to your kids' games. You have the discipline to show up to family events. You have the discipline to cook a meal when you don't want to. So it's occurring to me that it's irritating when people say they don't have discipline. Because you do all these things that literally require discipline, and all it takes is a mindset shift. It's hard as fuck to do, but you shift that mindset to walk more, to talk more, whatever the hell you want to do. And again, like the last guest that you guys are going to hear, the sky's the limit when it comes to you. And if you can get your discipline in line, which by all means, I'm not perfect. I have certain things I'm very great at. I have certain things that I still need a lot of work on, but I am 1, human. 2, I'm learning.
Right.
And I'm continuing to put the work in. Yeah. Some of it might take a while to get that full click moment. And sometimes you do need that. But again, you have the discipline to show up to work every day. You can have the discipline to put 10 minutes of work into yourself. 20 minutes of work into yourself. Go for a walk outside. Go to the gym. Make a freaking phone call to a friend in need or to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Your parents, I mean, whatever the hell it is.
I agree, dude. 100%. I have this conversation 100 times a week. Not 100, probably a handful of times a week with people. And, you know, that I don't have time, or it's like, it's not that you don't have time. You just don't prioritize the things that are important in your life. And that's the one that you hit on is like, yes, people are disciplined to go to work every single day, and they're afraid to step outside their comfort zone to do something more entrepreneurial because, you know, you go to work and you get You know you're going to get a paycheck at the end of the week every single week.
Not even just that, just to do something to better themselves, to better their own life. Mm-hmm. They might go and get the pass to Lagoon or something, but then I can't say a whole lot because I am kind of a lame parent when it comes to that. But it's not because I don't want to do it. It's because I don't want to feel like shit later in the day. Mm-hmm. So there is a slight difference, but they might show up and just sit there. I'll go on most of the rides with my kids, but again, I know my limits.
Yeah.
Do I want to be the dad that's sitting there puking, or do I want to be the dad that's watching my kids enjoy something? Yeah. And I'm glad my wife has the stomach to deal with it.
Yeah.
She said, I'm a fun parent. And, I'm like, at this point, I'm glad you can be that.
Yeah.
Because if it weren't for you changing your life and having the discipline, they wouldn't have that parent because I couldn't do it all.
Right.
You wouldn't do it, or she wouldn't do it at the time.
Right.
But it's just that discipline.
Yeah.
To go in there to make that slight adjustment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the slight adjustment to prioritize whatever you want, whatever is important to you, and there's always an excuse tied to everything, right? To say, I don't have time, or I'm just not that person. But yeah, you show up to work. If your work told you weren't going to get paid, would you probably
show up?
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's people. Everybody has it. I would say 99% of the people have it. That if you're a capable person, you've got some sort of discipline, whatever that is. And it could be a negative one, right? The discipline of waking up late. Yeah. The discipline of, sitting at home and playing video games at a specific hour for 8 hours or to 5 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. The discipline of, being a piece of crap, I don't know, of being a bad husband or a bad, well, regardless, you're going to build discipline in some habit. It's your choice to do it. Is it going to be a positive or negative? And are you going to choose to prioritize this or that? And, I don't know. I think people will make an excuse for anything. And I think you can have negative and positive motivators, and you can have a negative and positive disciplines. And it's just your choice to choose what route you want to go down.
I will say there's no perfect in life. So you are going to slip, you are going to fall, you're going to have times that things aren't perfect. But that's where
90% of the fucking time.
Yeah. Honestly.
10% of the time you're like, oh wow, I'm locked in.
Life is fucking going. But there is, like you said, I would safely say 80-90% of the time something's going to come up. A kid's going to trip and fall, you're going to fall. Plans are going to fall through.
Husband's mad at the wife. Wife's mad at the husband.
Meals aren't going to be quite cooked. Life got crazy because this X, Y, and Z happened. And make up any excuse you can, but at the end of the day, it's how you turn it around to work better.
Yep.
Simple example of my little life. Usually my wife plans the meals out, which I'm extremely grateful for. I absolutely love that she does it. But there's times that she doesn't want to have to think about it. And most of the time I'm like, she asks me and my mind goes blank.
Yeah.
Like just a blank chalkboard. I don't know what. So today, in my free time that I had between the gym and coming here to record, I grabbed the cookbooks, said, I'm thinking these meals. Laid it out for her. She's like, okay. We got the stuff ordered. And now I have them in my phone. And so tomorrow or sometime this weekend, I'm going to make a couple of them so we can be prepared for the week. Or make all of them so I can be over-prepared for the week. But the discipline has to come now. Where's the discipline is me making the meals.
Yeah.
So once again, I have things I need to get done tomorrow. And I have the discipline to do those. But now I need the discipline to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's no motivation. Well, okay, I lied. There is motivation. I want to make her happy.
There you go.
And I want to make her week easier because this week was rough.
Yeah.
Between the holiday and everything, it just made for a weird week. It usually does. But did we let that completely kill all of our drive and all of our intentions? No.
So you use that little motivator. Yeah.
We pivoted.
Yes.
To do something different. Was it the best option for my budget? Hell no. Did it work? We made it work.
Yeah.
Did we have fun? Hell yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Did our kids have a great time? Yes, they did. Did we still get our stuff done? Yes, we did.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah, you use that little bit of motivator, which was to make her happy, make her life a little bit easier. Then you're using discipline to finish that task and that action out.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what we just talked about. So I agree, man, 100%, dude. I think it's a great topic to have. I think it's easy to get lost in the weeds sometimes, but yeah, it's. I love that you hit on it. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, and we've talked about it a million times. Shit just goes wild. It's just the way life just happens. And you got to find the serendipities in life and say, you know what, I'm glad that this happened, and view the positives and build a discipline out of it, and just know that tomorrow's gonna be a new day, and the next week will start, and it's just you could choose to change at any time, and you could choose to be disciplined in whatever area or prioritize whatever field that you want. You could choose that at any moment, any time of the day, any time of the week, any time of the month. Any time of the year.
Pivot the life.
You get to pivot whenever you want. So I love that word, by the way.
It's a great word.
It's a really cool word. But
that's all we got for you guys.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
The RoundTable Podcast, where we talk to our personal growth, struggles, and journey.